Hi, and welcome to the Fluid Voice. I'm Ozma in the Dark here. She, they pronouns. I am here with our wonderful co-hosts. Christy, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing better than you heard last week, so that's for sure. And yeah, that's it. I'm okay.
And you generally prefer she, her, right?
Oh yeah, she, her. See, I'm the one who forgot it.
Well, yeah, but you're also the one who originally thought of some of these aspects, and I was just like, why not do it? And then like we both forget sometimes.
Yes, it's she, her.
Perfect. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. And he, him pronouns.
And, and tonight, this week, we have our wonderful guest, Rico. How are you doing?
I'm all good. Pronouns are he, him, and I am eating shrimp tempura.
Excellent.
I'm jealous.
Honey,
I
just had some hot and sour soup before we went on, so it's very Chinese.
Oh shit! I just processed that. I processed something I forgot to do earlier with the setup. Well, okay, so I forgot to link to the event. So we are technically live, I think.
I can't check. I had to crash my Chrome.
No, I am checking
Yeah, I don't
at
have
the
it
moment.
started yet on.
No, I am checking. Okay, it's got like the wrong episode. Let me fix all this.
Oh, this.
Let me just.
You're saying we may have to do those introductions again.
Well, no. I just want to quick. So tonight we're trying. I was just like, why not talk about meritocracy? I listed it as like meritocracy myths. Not to say that everything that involves something that involves meritocracy, it's a myth that it's meritocracy. It's just that we're taught that a lot is meritocracy. That is not a meritocracy. There's a lot of systems or whatnot, and some of this is because of the conversation I had with you earlier, Rico. Because you mentioned that there was a difference between the military and civilian life or whatnot. How it went. The military life you mentioned as being more of a like an actual meritocracy, and then immediately as you went to the civilian life, it wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, I was saying the military, it's a lot more straightforward. There are, of course, exceptions with regards to your proficiency and conduct marks being given to you. Like, it kind of depends on who your leadership is, because some people, no matter how good you do, they'll still give you low or just average marks, even though you deserve more. But again, that's on a case-by-case basis. But generally speaking, the military is by and large significantly more of a meritocracy than the civilian sector is by like every metric, because there's no you don't have your position being bought and paid for, and you get it because your mommy and daddy bought you, paid your way through that to get you that, to fast track you to the rank you got and whatnot. That's not how that works. There's a system on that, and if you perform poorly, it's more than likely going to reflect that, and thus you will get promoted rather slowly comparatively.
I mean, I think one of the things I was always wondering about that is because there is the lower ranks, I never was in the military.
I got you.
The enlisted to sergeant ranks, and then there's also there's the officer to thing. Yeah, see, like, and I was like, what is the nature of that divide? Because you go to, I mean, I can't remember. I heard from someone.
West Point and all that jazz. Yeah, no. Officer school is, it's literally just college. What matters is how smart you are. You know, so you still have to pass the physical standards and whatnot. But for the most part, yeah, if you, that's where a lot of nepotism is on the officer side versus enlisted. Enlisted is pretty much like. It's like you go to community college and then you go to, now I would say now you're doing a job. Whereas with officers, it's like you go into those big, rich private universities and whatnot. You know what I mean? It's, your average Joe ain't getting up in there. You know what I mean? That's why you have an incredibly diverse enlisted side, and then you have a almost uniformly, just completely homogenous officer side. You know what I mean? Because the only people that get up in there is basically well-off white dudes, whereas the enlisted side, they'll take everybody.
Although I also the second lieutenant and first lieutenant of all the officer ranks, that seems to be like the one that would be most likely to be gotten into by I would imagine that because that's more likely to be closer to a diverse score, partially because, at the very least, from what I heard about the Vietnam War or whatnot, back in the day, where they just wanted to make sure to get replacement lieutenants, and
yeah, back then they were given how quickly people were dropping like flies. Yeah, they like, look, we need to have officers up in here. So the standard back then, I would say it was more of meritocracy back then, but also because they kind of lowered their standard because, well, they needed to meet the numbers. Because again, people were dropping like flies. It was just a fucking meat grinder is what that was. But in here, years later, it's gotten a lot more lax. But again, the only people that get up in the officer corps are people from relatively well-off families. You know what I mean? Who can pay their way up into those into West Point and all that. Because you got to have a minimum bachelor's degree to become an officer.
Yeah, like that right there is a classic classist distinction.
Can attempt to try to get a bachelor's degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's legit. Just a way to weed people out, as far as I can tell. And not in the good way where you're weeding out cruel people, but more so the weeding out.
Quick question: is the stream on? Because I looked at it; it's still on YouTube. It's still waiting.
Gotcha. Yeah. So what happened was, and maybe I need to fix it.
No, I got it to load.
So what happened was, so likely there are two versions of the video. One which is live currently. It's still live? Yeah, it's still live. And the waiting thing was not connected to the video. So
it's on a different channel.
Well, no, it's on the same channel. It's just it's on a different video technically. That's what I should have done.
Showing my age.
Well, words. Let me just click
Yes, I
the share
refreshed
button.
the voice page and opened a new window of it, and that loaded the live stream.
Yeah, it's because
So yes, that's entirely consistent with your theory that it's in a different window.
Yeah, well, I know it's in a different window because I know where I fucked up. I'll just
while they're talking about that, one of the fights going on when I was younger, because I'm ancient here, was it was always the next people that we keep out. It was women being in the military and having any combat roles was the big thing when I was young. One of the reasons the ERA now never got passed, the Equal Rights Amendment, and of course when I was then gays in the military became an issue. I got kicked out after 2 days because they found out I'd slept with the captain. The captain the captain did not actually get thrown out.
That sounds like the classic officer bullshit.
It takes a lot to get an officer punished for pretty much anything. That's no exaggeration on that one.
Yeah.
Well, and it was a weird situation. Anyway, I knew the captain before I joined. And matter of fact, I just bitched him about something yesterday, so we're still in touch. So the gays in the military, and then now trans people obviously in the military is a thing, and even though trans people are proven to be just like anybody else in the military, really, as far as
you're saying, trans people are people?
Yeah, people are people. You can either do it or you can't.
What a novel concept.
Yeah.
That kind of meritocracy is one of the things that what I used to say, because I didn't really want to be in the military. I wanted to be in the Coast Guard, and that's what I joined in for 2 days. And I'm losing my thread. I apologize.
Well, in that case, can I just steal what you were saying to be pointing out that
please,
they had the same arguments about blacks joining the military.
Yep.
It will destroy unit cohesion. It will so on.
Yep.
Then they did the same thing with women joining the military.
Same as it ever been. As it's ever been.
Gays. It's been the same argument every time, and every time the military has adapted and survived fine.
Yeah.
One of the things that happened out of blacks being integrated in the military is it advanced the civil rights movement. I mean, not that that's doing so well right now, the civil rights movement, but that's another
on the whole,
question.
I think we've seen it advance.
I say it's definitely, with regards to advancing civil rights, the military definitely was, and I can't think of a more backwards way to advance civil rights than the military, given the military, what the military does abroad. It's kind of a ass backwards way to go about it. But yeah, the military did it, but a lot of the government institutions were the primarily did best. The federal government specifically did best at advancing civil rights with like the USPS, the military, just about a lot of federal jobs by and large were allotted to those of us in marginalized groups. Again, the federal government did the best at that. Everything else though, it's hit or miss, ebb and flow, and all that jazz.
Well, yeah, that's
the U.S. military cannot be used to introduce civil change. That's another argument that they put, and you're like, no, that's an argument that people make. They still make it.
Well, I what they always used to say, and this does come from, again, the ERA fight. This is as far back as I personally go. So, was the military is not a social experiment, but that's kind of ridiculous. The military, by its nature, is a social experiment. I mean, it takes a long explanation for me to get from one place to the other, but it is.
No, that's without a doubt. I would say the military has been the testing ground for a lot of the things that the rest of America struggles to embrace, from again, like civil rights and racial just being significantly more so, not 100%, more fair and equitable system of governance, to include things like healthcare and education, utilities, food, education and job training, all that jazz being provided to you as a right. I think the military is a prime testing ground for show, like, hey, maybe this thing could work outside of the military. And like, yeah, no shit.
Well,
Yeah.
AmeriCorps back in 92, 93 was one of those things. And again, I'm just going to throw what the stupid arguments always were. So that's going to be my beat on this, I think. Because the argument was, well, how can you have paid volunteers? And like, you do realize we have an all-volunteer military. They get paid. Are we trying something else now? So
when we say volunteer military,
Oh,
I mean they have to come with their own supplies.
It's volunteer in a very literal sense, but the alternatives are not great. So it's like, yeah, you don't have to join, but enjoy poverty, motherfucker.
yeah.
that was actually my case. Merita, the other two know this, but I was born into two wealthy families, and for various reasons, I'm poor as fuck. So, had to do with my mother getting disowned, and me being adopted out from the other family just giving up on me. So,
Yeah.
it's a strange place to be. And I look at one of my aunts said, well, look, it's cool. We don't have to, we reached the Social Security threshold. We don't have to pay Social Security after the money we make. It's like, oof, why are you bragging about that to me, who's kind of trying to pay the rent this month and having to make sure I bring enough bottles back,
It's one of the interesting things. I really don't know of any other structure. I don't even actually know of a business that runs their business on a meritocracy. They don't have it set up where if you meet the qualifications, if you have the merits, you will get the reward, sort of thing that is in the military. The military.
That's a good point. I never thought about it like that, because you're right. Because in the military, it's very clear goals that need to be met to get to the next rank. Like, it's like, hey, you need to do these things and you can get promoted. Whereas on the civilian side, it's like nothing. It's just like,
yeah,
you might get promoted.
Yeah, well, they might have reasons why you weren't promoted, but they're not going to give you, these are things you need. If you accomplish these things, it will happen.
Yeah.
In fact, it will happen at this point right after you do those things.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that would make any sort of job thing less stressful if you knew what you could possibly be doing that could get you fired, and you knew, exactly what merits that you're trying to provide.
Yeah, it's one thing, and that's a lot of reason why a lot of people stay in is because, well, the military is very straightforward. There ain't no fucking little tricks that our civilian side do, like with a lot of companies that are like hiring, or businesses that are hiring. You know how they won't post wages and shit, and then you show up and be like, and they're like, well, how much you think you should get paid? You're like, motherfuckers, you know what I mean? They do shit. But whereas in the military, it's all open, transparent, and very straightforward. You don't have to think that hard about basically anything.
Well, the thing is, transparency is a big part of preventing corruption, and the fact that companies are not very transparent at all is not a good thing.
And they don't have to be. They really like Perfict said, there really is no. They're not really mandated to be a meritocracy or to be transparent or anything.
Yeah.
I'm wondering at what point it became rude. That it became rude to talk about your salary with another worker, because that gives all the power in pay rates to the boss, basically.
I literally worked
that was the Industrial Revolution.
Hey, don't tell them. Oh, what were you saying, Perfict?
That was the Industrial Revolution. That's when it became rude to talk about that.
Is it? Because I thought I when I looked into it, I thought it was much more recent than that. But I haven't looked into it as much as I should have. So I'm always willing to admit being wrong.
It's I worked at jobs where they straight up tell me, hey, don't tell the other coworkers how much you're getting paid. You know what I mean? It's straight up bullshit. Whereas in the Marine Corps, we're like, hey, bro, none of us getting paid worth shit. And we know the exact amount. We all like, I'm like, motherfucker, you a Lance Corporal too. I know how much you make. Don't play with me. You see a Lance Corporal buying a brand new fucking car, and you're like, bro, we get paid like $600-$700 twice a month. What the fuck are you doing? Like, we know.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, the concern there is, I think, a complete difference in goals, because corporations tend to not want worker unity, because worker unity means they end up paying the workers more. Whereas in the military, they need that unity. You need to, get along and understand where everyone stands.
Yep. We need to know that we're all in the same boat. At no point should anybody feel like that, that we're not united. And they stress that all the fucking time. Again, whereas on the civilian side, like you said, it is they're heavily incentivized to keep us from unionizing or uniting in any fucking facet.
Yeah, which is its own problem.
It's technically illegal in all 50 states for a boss to tell their worker not to discuss their pay.
Yeah, but it's oftentimes also legal for you to be fired for any reason.
Yeah, there's many states.
There's always a way around that shit. A lot of businesses and such, they did well to find some way around it with some bullshit ass legislation.
Yeah.
I mean, I did have one job where I was aware that I was making more than my coworkers for doing a shittier job, and I never did discuss it with them. And after I left the job is when I started really thinking about the entire idea of why am I getting paid more because why? There was no reason for me to be being paid more because other people were having more stressful jobs. I just had a shittier job, you know?
Yeah.
But, like I said, it sucks that it's like that. Now, if it was up to me, I'd be mandating motherfucking like you have to post wages to everybody. Like people, there needs to be basically what people make needs to be transparent. Period. There needs to be a scale on it as in the same way in the military where it shows you, this is starting pay how your pay raises over time. Clear stated goals. Like none of this vague bullshit, so they can get away with essentially. If you don't ask for it, they're not going to give it. You know what I mean? There needs to be clear metrics that needs to be met for it to actually be a meritocracy. That's how I'd be demanding things. It feels up to me.
As much as we've got anarchist streaks in us, but a lot of the government works that way, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, like I said, the government is for as far as it has. There are functions that are, like, to me, just undeniably good.
Yeah.
One of them being is the how transparent it is with regards to the jobs and employment. Like that transparency is great, and I wish the civilian sector's jobs were like that.
Yeah,
all of them.
Yeah, I mean, it would make it a lot easier to. Well, it'd be a lot easier to improve everything.
Yeah.
If you knew what you needed to do to improve, you know what you need to work on, you know what you can do. And if you can't, you can explain why you can't.
Yeah. And the thing is, again, it's still pretty straightforward. It's just like if you can't meet the metric by which we measured, your worth, to get promoted and whatnot. That's it. That's on you, buddy. Like if you there's a metric that everybody else can meet it. You got to meet it, or you're just gonna stay that same rank.
Well, I mean, there are various other factors that can muddle with things, because obviously we've got what the expectations are going to be oftentimes dependent on societal and cultural, well, not societal and cultural norms, just that, but like
what you're saying, and a prime example of that in the military is the BMI, the body fat fucking test shit. The height and weight requirements are absolutely like you would. I'm like, the size they seem to want us to be. I'm like, we haven't been this small since what, like the 30s, the 60s? Jesus Christ! But you want to because I've been losing weight, so I went from 250 to 255 to 243, and according to the Marine Corps, I'm overweight because what they want me to be, and what they wanted me to be over for years, they wanted me to be 197 pounds. I haven't been anywhere close to that since I was 16. So I know that's small for. And it's not just me. I've known way too many Marines, so many perfectly good sergeants, great at their jobs, great at the physical training, and all that jazz, get completely fucked over because they didn't meet the height and weight standard. Big dudes, strong dudes, more than capable of doing everything, but because they don't meet that fucking height and weight standard, they get fucked over for promotion. They get fucked over just in the careers overall. Because if you end up on the body composition program, the BCP program, you're fucked. You are never getting promoted, and you're done. You are not re-enlisting.
Yeah, and there are aspects of that, obviously, with just some people can't do as much as other people for certain jobs. And that is potentially going to be the case. It's one of those things where I've always liked the idea of a society helping deal with needs and working for better wants. But I was going to say that might just be me, but I'm pretty sure it's not just me.
Definitely not. That's not a bad idea. Like I said, a lot of the military does that as well, where again it meets your needs, so people can then focus on their wants. However, again, the standards are arguably pretty. A lot of them are very dated, in my opinion. Some made worse over time. Others definitely need to be updated. Like again, another one for the Marine Corps is the only one that runs 3 miles as a requirement. You know what I mean? And it's just fucking miserable. Whereas every other branch is no more than 2 miles. Like, I'll gladly run 2 miles, a mile and a half to 2 miles. But you telling me to keep running 3 miles? I'm tired. I can't keep doing this. So
even the
BMI, a lot of the standards definitely need to be changed to be a bit more. I would say to meet people's needs rather than with the Marine Corps standard they want to have. Because I'm like, I ain't serving combat. 99% of the people I knew ain't never even seen combat. Even some of the grunts I knew never saw combat. It's just but a whole lot of stupid fucking training. And I'm like, maybe we change that standard, guys, please.
Well, the BMI in particular is ridiculous. It's medically ridiculous. So.
Medically ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was I'm 5'7", so I was 210. My ability to I don't brag about my old male body too much, so I'm taking this opportunity. You want 300 sit-ups? You want 300 push-ups? Put me down. I'll do them. But yet I was considered too fat by the standards, but that, even though I looked real fucking thin.
Yeah, standard is fucking ridiculous, seriously.
So, do not ask me to do 300 sit-ups or push-ups right now. I'm just saying. The hormones changed me a lot, and so did physical problems.
Oh, I'm certain I could do 200 or 300 sit-ups over the course of a year.
We have no idea what your body shape is, so.
Even at my best, I couldn't do that many. I'll wait. Yeah, give me a year to do them. I'll get back to you.
No, it's the odd thing, and I can't do a pull-up to save my life. So, I have no idea.
Love me some pull-ups.
Yeah, well, you say that, but like I have I've continually tried to get back in shape sometimes, and just because type 2 diabetes runs in my family, and I don't want to end up with type 2 diabetes. So so my mom was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes at like the start of it, and then she got in ridiculously good shape. So my mom can outperform me in every exercise, I assume. She's not as strong as me, but she's more fit than me. Yeah, I can do pull-ups is my point. Hormones didn't stop me from doing pull-ups. I don't know at the moment if I can do pull-ups, but because I've been out of my exercise routine, I can probably do at the very least a half pull-up.
I know we're veering a little bit, but
yeah, sorry.
I would be curious what I can do now, which is after 2 strokes and a heart attack.
Yeah, don't overexert yourself, because that sounds like a bad Those sound like a lot of bad reasons to overexert yourself.
Just a smidge, but I'm better now. I'm walking 3 miles now, so I'm getting better.
That's good.
Hey, that's good. It's for the best.
The one of the now as again I have a skewed view, a different view on meritocracy. As far as I'm in the arts, my family is all in the arts. That's fine. They get whatever they want because they're rich, and I have to prove myself a lot, which I'm all for. I don't mind doing that. But if I hadn't lucked out very early on and met some people that helped me advance, all this, where am I going with this? All the self-made people are not self-made. No matter what. You met somebody along the way, even if it was a mentor, if it was somebody who just introduced you to the right person, or just happened to meet the right person to help you along. Again, I'm still dirt poor. I became rich on my own. The medical bills is what killed me, which threw me off. But I became rich on my own, more or less. And then when things fell apart, a lot of the people that helped me out died in the meantime, and a lot of people now it's a different situation. I'm in a different situation with this. So, especially in the arts at my age, which of course is a separate issue altogether. Ageism and meritocracy is ageism is a big deal, and since I always mark Hispanic on my forms, they don't like that. I'm running out of ways to. I'm running out of paragraph. I'm usually a fairly good speaker.
It's okay. Like, it's easy to end up in a position where you are out of it.
Yeah.
Yes. But winding it back to meritocracy.
Yeah.
Well, that's where
I'm just wondering what would happen
that is where I was
if we
going.
started trying to operate on meritocracies. And I mean, it's not inconceivable to implement them in places. You know, fast food place could simply be saying, if you learn 4 stations or the grill and 2 other stations, this is the raise that you would expect, so on and so forth. If they, you know, it would be, you go, I'm not sure that doesn't make sense. Why isn't this an implementation? If you're thinking about it, it's why isn't somebody doing this? It seems to me it would be very successful. And the, you know, strict rules about what constitutes, how do we know you've learned the station? You got, you know, this person has checked off that you have, so on and so forth. When you've got these things and you've made your notification, 2 weeks later, you will get that, you know, raise in your paycheck.
Yeah, it would definitely make things easier.
It wouldn't just make things easier. I think it would make you incredibly popular. I think that everyone would want to work at your fast food place by preference over everybody else's.
Maybe. Well, actually, probably, but.
Well, Ben and Jerry's is the only company I know of that does that. That they absolutely, you know how much you make as compared to everyone else.
Well, Ben & Jerry's been pretty progressive for the longest time. And I mean, like, very openly so for a very long time.
Yeah. And I don't know. I suppose it's my job to write the means of production. WRIT. Oh, that was the stupidest thing I've ever said. So please carry on.
You're fine. Oh man, but y'all got any more questions for me? Keep rolling.
Normally we run later, but let's see. If you have to go soon, that's fine. What would be another good? What would be one last good question? What do you think would be a good way to help implement try to move things towards a meritocracy?
I would say, at least in America's case, put things through the lens of the military in a direct way. In the harp on how transparent the promotion system is in regards to pay scale and requirements need to be met, and then kind of contrast that with how the opposite of transparent the civilian job setting, private sector is, and how that's used to exploit people for a lot more work for lower pay, make people essentially compete with themselves, with each other, walk on eggshells around their boss. You want to contrast, you want to compare and contrast there to really sell people on that idea. And the reason I say the military specifically is because this is America.
Yeah.
There's one thing America, at least the more, moderates, liberals, things like that, understand is the military. So things like that. You want to speak their language, but while advocating the thing you're advocating for. I think that's the way to sell it on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Makes sense. Personal question: why did you leave?
I didn't want to leave the first time. But by the time I tried re-enlisting, my MOS was completely full. Like, there were no boat spaces left, and there were already over 100 pending that still, like, they didn't get a boat space either. So there was just nowhere to go in my job field. So I tried to lateral move to a different job, and I didn't get any of the jobs I went in for. So I got out, was out for a year, got back in on active duty orders, which is a lot different from the contract. My active duty contract is over. So now I can go back in because I got on honorably. I can go on orders. So it's just like being temporary active duty, but it's like more like a job. So I can be, just as I can be fired, I can quit at any time. So yeah, because again, I never wanted to get out. It's just I waited a little too long to try and re-enlist. I should have did that shit way the fuck early, like the few people I did know did, but I didn't listen.
Yeah. No, I understand. Well, it was wonderful having you on. Sorry that, like I said, we usually run a little bit longer, but sorry that you had to sorry and bring that up earlier. Where can people find you?
Yeah, y'all can find me on Twitter you just look up my name to Rico Baker, or look up my ad as Rico Rants, and you can find me on YouTube at Rico Rants. If anybody wants to reach out to me, just shoot me a DM. I always check. So yeah, I'm easy to reach.
Okay.
And you're on a good channel, so yeah.
Well, thank you kindly. Y'all take care. Now it's a pleasure coming on.
Yeah, you too.
It's a pleasure having me.
Peace.
Thank you very much.
So,
that was I enjoyed that a lot. So I want to say that without reservation, I'm too Asperger's to lie. So
I mean, some people seem to somehow manage it.
It is almost physically impossible to lie. It's really. I wish I could.
I perhaps, even though in general circumstances I'm bad at lying, I definitely there are a few circumstances where I lied as a teenager. I will admit, but I had to teach myself to. I also forged my mom's signature once, and well, more than once, but like probably only a couple times.
I'm not sure it's technically possible to forge your own signature.
I have a signature that's made up because my handwriting's very neat. So I made up a signature.
Well, yeah, but the fact that I went through a good amount of effort to learn how to forge my mom's signature is yeah, for schoolwork. It was related to school stuff. I can't remember exactly. It involved me not getting. It was something with relation to me not getting stuff done.
My mom changed my report. My mom changed my report card once, and I was so okay. I was so like I was kind of wrecked up about it, and my stepfather like asked me immediately, "Did you change? Is that the right score?" I said, "No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm literally incapable of it, and it's one of my life story would be a lot more coherent if I could lie." Make it lots of people's life story makes a lot more sense when they just do shit out. But since we're here and since we have another hour, so she did it again.
Oh yes, yes, J.K. Rowling definitely did it again.
Oh my god. So in the quick synopsis for anybody who doesn't know about this, and if you're watching this you probably do already, but Kerry Kennedy of the Robert F. Kennedy Award, or Humanitarian Award, kind of rebuked J.K. Rowling's stance on transgender people, and on the Robert F. Kennedy Humanitarian Award page, but it's really hidden, so it was actually a major pain to find, and then a screed from J.K. Rowling telling why she's giving back the award instead of actually looking at her own damn soul and seeing that it is turned dark and evil. She is the villain of her own story now. Still. Worse. This one was worse. This screed was actually worse. This I'm gonna obviously the group of us who did the collaboration video last time, we're gonna be doing it again for this one.
So would I be finding this under J.K. Rowling's trans tweets? I'm using my Google Foo.
Google Foo, J.K. Rowling Humanitarian Award.
Well, I just put in J.K. Rowling and it gave me trans tweets. So
yeah, of course that. There is one thing that I did not notice in the old. Because we're doing this, I'm saving some of what I have to say for that. Not that I don't love y'all and wanna, talk everybody's ears off. But one thing I did not notice from the last one was when she talked about the clownfish. And something I did not know, and there was no way for me, well, there were ways for me to know, but it was unlikely, is that is an anti-trans dog whistle in Britain, calling us clownfish. I did not know that.
Gotcha. That.
So that's in the first breed, because the clownfish can change their sex pretty, depending on the needs of the school, or maybe dysphoria. Who knows why they do it?
I don't know. Because they feel like it.
Yeah, so
because they don't have the same because they don't have the same views of gender. They don't have the archaic views of gender that go on in society. So,
well, I found out through Sophia, but not from Sophia, that our regular co-host Sophia, and speaking of which, we're also the bitching hour is back with now called the Trinity vlog. Which,
nice.
Yay. Once a week, not 3 times a week, because we were burning on that. But yeah, through Sophia, I found out that particular thing is a direct making fun of trans people. It's one of the things they use. I had no idea. So I'm even more pissed off now.
Yeah.
At the old thing, so now I'm also pissed off at the new thing, but I get to be pissed off at the old thing because I found out the day before about the clownfish.
I mean, yeah, it's understandable how that can happen. The being pissed off because some. Wow, I cannot words.
It's okay.
I mean, that happens as well sometimes. Not being able to word properly. So,
I had that problem a little earlier in this thing.
Yeah.
A lot of the things were, which I talked about in private before, and I actually would talk about here. I was stopping transitioning for the last week and a half or so because I didn't think it was worth it. I didn't think it was worth the heartache anymore of being constantly ridiculed. I have a lot of trouble with that. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, anybody would, arguably. It's not a pleasant thing to be constantly ridiculed.
Yeah, and constantly, told. I don't know. Even just as we were coming on the air, somebody hit me some on Twitter. But then I read J.K. Rowling's thing, and I said, "Fuck it, put on a patch," and took my Sparrow.
Well, good.
That's not really,
well, some good came out of
really
it.
what happened.
There we go.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
you proved it. J.K. Rowling is the reason why you didn't completely decide to go through with detransitioning again.
See, she is my hero now.
There were reasons. I talked to someone else who just wanted to.
Well, yeah. I'm sure there were.
It was other reasons. See, I can't lie. It would have been a great story. God damn it.
I am just looking at. So she was saying that she's saying in her statement that she feels that people should be more. That she feels that the discussion needs to be more nuanced, and that people need to be allowed to express their opinions in order for it to be more nuanced. But she deleted the support that Stephen King had for her and her writing, because he tweeted that trans women are women.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she feels that he isn't entitled to be offering any sort of a nuanced opinion.
Right.
So when she says nuanced opinion, she means my opinion.
Yeah.
Yes. Because people think they get to have an opinion on our existence, and they do not.
Well, yes, but your existence is subject to her opinion. Yes.
Which, you know.
But how you should classify your existence is primarily subject. She gets the final say. She is the final arbiter in this situation. That's really
it's arrogant.
Yeah.
In a way that's really special. Just reading it is really.
Oh, you are reading it? It is worse, and in fewer words, you managed to go worse than the last time.
Yeah.
So this happened again, and I like what I'm hoping it's Katie Montgomery, because that's what I'm going to say. You said it.
Well, she is
at least she's at least she's self-aware enough to understand that she doesn't deserve a humanitarian award, which I thought was a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to get up for 1 second. Pardon.
Okay. So, back to Meritocracy. Just cause.
Oh, are we gonna? Yeah. Okay. We're gonna actually.
Well, cause fuck it, we can talk
We're coming
about
to the top
stuff.
of the hour.
Well, I mean, yeah, but like, there was. Did I even have more to say? Maybe I didn't have more to say.
No, I'm the who you know is actually a thing, and I how you were born and who you know is very much a thing, and then I get to there's a lot of things I get to see both sides of, you know, being rich, being poor, pretending to be a guy, not being that.
Yeah.
So I've seen the clouds from both sides now. Oh, come on, that was not bad.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's very, very much the case. No, it's interesting because it's hard not to see how strangely gendered society is, like in ways that just don't really make sense, and people oftentimes don't admit to. Like, like even like assumed strength is one thing that ties into like I could imagine that it doesn't matter how strong a woman is, there's still people who would try to carry her bag for her. I can almost guarantee that. Because I don't look particularly in good shape, but like I look stronger than... I don't look out of shape. I look like I can, at the very least, lift bags of groceries.
Yeah. It's getting harder, I will say.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that depends on how much you stay in shape. Like, the factor of muscle loss that ties into exercise as well.
I very much doubt I could lift. Well, I know I couldn't lift 200 pounds again, but
I know I have deadlifted 200 pounds on hormones after being on hormones, but that involved exercise and maintaining it. 200 pounds is difficult for me to lift, but to be fair, I was also never remarkably strong, so I maybe didn't notice the difference. It's a thing where I might never have really noticed the difference as much as some people might have.
I have noticed the differences. I'm significantly weaker, even though I'm technically stronger. I'm in better shape, but I'm weaker than I was.
Yeah, whereas I struggled with push-ups before, a fair amount before starting on hormones. So, maybe that's why I don't notice that much. I mean, I was able to do push-ups shortly before starting hormones, but I don't know. It's I struggled with a lot of upper body strength related stuff.
The as far as Meritocracy, there are a few things I know how to do well, and gendered is funny. Fantasy and horror are a lot less gendered than, well, even science fiction, our sister, or our annoying brother. It's a lot more integrated and a lot more women in it, especially fantasy. There's science fiction's for guys and fantasies for girls, which is bullshit. Charles DeLint was one of the best fantasy writers ever, so fuck that. I'm talking about living people.
Yeah, I used to listen. I used to read a bunch of Anne McCaffrey novels. Although, Anne McCaffrey's not
Well, she was science fiction.
Well, yeah, she's not the. Yes, she was a science fiction author. That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say she's not Anne McCaffrey is not always the best author, but maybe that involved her later work that I was less a fan of, because the dragon stuff.
Well, this is what I know. I know, and I know music. And one of the odder things is that women have an easier time getting work and get paid a fuck ton less.
Yeah.
In music.
Yeah, and I think that relates to the sexualization of a lot of women and the devaluing of anyone that has any sort of sexual aspects or whatnot. But then again, women get paid less than like everything, so practically.
Yeah, it's not. It's well, at least nobody tells me I write like a girl anymore. That is one upside.
Yeah, I haven't. Well, I never. Well, I haven't even finished a goddamn book yet. So like, no one's mentioned much about any of my writing because I haven't published any of my writing. So
well, go do that. It's fun.
Well, yeah, I just wanna finish something first.
Yeah, they do require you finish something before they publish it.
Yeah, like
I have noticed that.
Yeah, so I need to finish that book that I have like a decent amount finish. But the problem with that is obviously I've got priorities of survival related priorities, making sure I can have a way to live.
The eating thing is you've caught that eating bug. You like eating.
Yeah, I like eating. I like having a place to stay. Those things. I really like those things. I would like to continue doing those things. And yeah.
Stability does help. I mean, when Morgana and I did the Wonderland Tarot, which is the thing that made us all the money, she would work. I designed the whole thing while I was home because we had separate things. I worked nights, she worked days, I did all the designing, but we were relatively stable at the time. It was a brief period of stability in our lives there, there's a lot that goes around it, but who you know is one of the things that happened. I happen to know somebody who could be an intermediary between me and the company who published it. So
yeah,
it was. But yeah, if we hadn't had that bit of stability. The funniest part, and this is such a side note, is what she was substitute teaching, and she was filling in for the art teacher who had gotten fired, and who is the same art teacher who years before had told me I had no talent in art, and yet that is what has made me all my money. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, that I tended to not feel like I did not have much art encouragement.
No, I know that was a side note. I'm sorry, but
well, yeah, I
gloated that.
Yeah, but like I understand the feeling of to some degree of. I don't know. There's a lot of society that instead of being work that you earned, it's assumed that you're born into greatness or whatnot, and you earned it by the power of your genes. You earned everything that you can do, and that's not like reality.
I won't name the friend, but he yeah, he's the one who brought the idea to the company. He said, "This is coming your way. Take a look at it," because he saw some of the early work. So they sent him some of the early work. And if that hadn't have happened, then when I, walked in with the finished stuff, they would not have cut me a check. That's and I mean, in writing, if it hadn't been for Mark Leonard doing something incredibly nice for me, and I will name him, he's passed on, so he was a lovely man. If he hadn't done something very nice for me, then my career might not have happened. It's the way that goes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of right place, right time in that isn't meritocracy, and people think that people keep thinking that there is. I mean,
yeah, and well, like I said, we're kind of raised thinking that there is, being taught that it is a meritocracy. We get raised with getting grades, being told that that if we work hard, we can just make it through hard work, which also has its own problems with ableist shit, because that's just very much if you like, everyone can do this, and it's like, no, the average person maybe, but
oh yeah, and I'm lucky as fuck that this all happened, because when I had the strokes and the heart attack, I mean, yeah, it took all my money, but that's almost $100,000 did it cost. So that wiped me out.
Yeah. No, that's
well, I mean, yeah, part of it was covered by insurance, so I don't want to say that it was, but not enough of it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of the case with a lot of that shit.
So,
and that's always problematic, to say the least.
And yes, I did trade on my family name a lot. I will say that too, because that helped.
Yeah.
As good a writer as Joe Hill is, I don't think he would have had half the opportunities if he wasn't, Stephen King's son.
Yeah.
I know he wanted to make it on his own and not have people know that, but anybody looks at his picture, it's like, oh, is this Stephen King's new pseudonym? Because they look exactly alike, and they look more alike in person, I will say.
Yeah,
Joe does. I thought he was Stephen. Actually, when I first ran into him.
Yeah, no, that's like, well, for one thing, that's whenever you mention stuff like that, I'm just like, oh yeah, you've met some people.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. This is I don't. Yeah.
No, this is the you know what? This hour has been officially retitled the Christy Gets to Brag Hour and not feel bad about it.
No, I was actually talking. I actually was trying to go through meritocracy and
Oh, yeah.
how that works out.
Yeah,
I mean,
there seem to be aspects of that, or it always artistic industries always get represented as having as more meritocratous than other like corporate jobs.
and they're not.
Yeah, they're just clearer. They're slightly clearer about your pay sometimes. Sometimes they're clearer about your pay.
It's tricky. But yeah, so much. You wouldn't think something like that is something. And I won't talk about music because my music career is its own thing. It was something I did on the side, and it always has been. If I hadn't run into this person, if I hadn't made friends with this other person,
Yeah.
if I hadn't been in a position to do these things, that I would run into them in the first place, then a lot of what I have would not exist. And I'm not discouraging anybody from trying. There are actually ways you can go about networking, but to say that networking is not a huge part of the arts is to spout bullshit.
Yeah. And even like it makes that makes a lot of sense, and I haven't experienced a lot of it.
You are actually in a place where you have, a physical place.
Yeah.
Where you have more of an opportunity. I went to college at Stony Brook, so that was a place where I had a lot more opportunity to meet people.
We do have a regular interested in calling in, so I am going to...
Who would that be? Or should I be surprised? Well, I can't... Well, actually, no, fuck it. I'm disabling the waiting room so the person can come in and I'll be surprised. How's that?
Sure.
I shouldn't have said that out loud.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't have said that out loud.
I will enable the waiting room immediately after.
Okay.
Now we're all waiting on it.
Yeah, we're all waiting. It's exciting.
Oh no, was it to go goes to Mark Laird to say he didn't do shit? No. Actually, I thanked him before he died at some point, and he was very gracious. I didn't do anything. Yes, you freaking did. I'll explain the story some other time. But I think one of our regulars, Jesse, is the only person who's heard the whole story. So.
I've known a couple people who suffered some from the culture shock of coming out of the military and the fact that the world isn't a meritocracy, that they had gone from high school into it.
Hello.
Hello,
Leone.
How's it going? Can you hear us?
Can you guys hear me now?
Ooh,
yeah,
a bit crackly.
You're buzzing a bit, but yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I just got a new computer and I'm trying to. How's it? Is it a lot better?
Yeah, back off the mic a little bit.
Too
That's
close
all.
to the mic.
Hold on. I apologize, guys. Like I said, I just got a new computer and for class, and yeah, hold on. Yeah, I actually been doing a lot of research. I decided to go back to school and all that stuff. I just wanted to share a little bit of data and research. I was going to mention this to Perfict. Can you guys hear me clearly? Am I coming out clear?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So I know this is not in regards to the topic you guys were talking about in regards to in the relation to, but I needed to share this because this is actually fascinating. So I just came off of a discussion with some Indian philosophers. I don't know if you guys know much about Indian materialism and Indian philosophy. I know this probably seems like it's kind of like off topic, but this is genuinely important. So I actually got a chance to speak.
Theology degree, remember? Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Well, here's the irony on this. So I just spoke to one of the guys that runs a ashram based on the philosophy of Shavaka. I just finished talking to him for almost an hour and a half. Do you guys remember what Shavaka is?
I do not know, but Christy.
Is the ashram in Woodstock just off the...
No, it's in India.
Oh, it's in India. Okay.
Yeah. So the Shavaka is one of the oldest known Indian materialist philosophies known to man. It is literally atheistic in nature. They were considered to be hedonistic because they didn't believe in any form of religion. They were incredibly skeptical, incredibly critical on religion. They rejected any form of theology. They rejected all forms of anything that was considered supernatural. They were, by every nature, atheists. Here's the fascinating thing. So I've been doing a lot of digging on this topic over the last month because I genuinely want to know. And it prime dates on the notions of gender. And I'm pretty sure you guys hear continuously how you get like people like Dr. Deborah So, the transphobe, that continuously perpetuates that biological sex and gender are the identical thing. You guys have heard that before?
Yes.
Okay. I can prove with cultural anthropology that notion of what she's saying is blatantly untrue.
Yeah.
Yeah, although I don't think she would listen.
Of course not. But I've been so after talking to this individual. Okay, his name was Bredlam. I don't want to mispronounce his name to be disrespectful because he was kind enough to speak to me, but he explained in Shavaka, or I'm just going to call it Sanskrit because Sanskrit is the language that it's based on. But Sanskrit, the philosophy I'm talking about, in regards to it, they actually had notions of genders beyond the binary. And we're talking about a philosophy based on pure materialism. Like they are, by every definition, by modern terms, philosophical atheists, like the anti-theists. And they basically had notions of a neuter gender. I could actually pull the name for it. Give me a second.
It's, Oh, my brain is shutting down. Why you caught me on such a day where I'm not?
I apologize. But I
know what it is. Yeah.
No, I'm gonna pull this up because I needed to bring this up because this is like something I didn't want to lose it. Where is it? Good. Give me a second, guys. So how's everyone been?
It's good. Also remember in ancient Hebrew there are 6 genders. So.
Was it 6?
Yeah.
I thought. Wait. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
We had that discussion.
Well, yeah, I know we had that discussion. I just couldn't remember for whatever reason. My brain thought it was 5 for some reason.
It was really early on.
Yeah, 5 of them are based on intersex conditions, and the 6th was the indeterminate gender.
Yeah. Okay, that's probably why my brain generalized like it did.
Where is this thing? Yeah, so there's a publication that's run in India called The Voice of Shavaka. Now, don't get me wrong, they do. It's nowhere near the pure materialist philosophy they do today, but that's one of the periodicals that they run on there today. I'm trying to find this damn thing. Give me a second.
The reason I asked about Woodstock in particular is one of the ashrams is where I used to live in Woodstock. It's
okay. So the
literally
word
the same building.
I don't know about that.
So
that's funny.
Yeah, so basically, there's a book I read from a guy named Ethan Mill. No, that's not him. But anyways, I'll have to give you guys this source later on. Okay. But this is just I don't know. I just found this fascinating because if you really think about it, when you have a philosophy that's inspired that predates Abrahamic faiths, this clearly denotes, especially when this Indian philosophy is, like I said, by every definition, atheistic in nature. Like, literally, they reject any premise of the supernatural, anything that's not outside our concepts of reality. Right. If they denoted a gender outside the typical stereotyped binary, this is a clear-cut evidence that the notions that gender and biological sex are identical is completely debunked.
Yes. Well, Hindu in general, if you read the I'm gonna screw up the name of the big book. It's got the Bhagavad Gita is one of the first sections in it. The Mahabharata.
Okay.
The gender of God is varies according to need. Which is one of the reasons why you have the third gender thing in their culture. Although the people, because of I'm guessing because of Western influence or something, in India are treated very badly. Now, I find Hindu to be the worst of the religions, but of the major religions for various reasons. But there is the triface, the triface of God in there is literally man, woman, other. So
yeah.
So on a more happier note, so what has everyone been up to? It's been a couple months since I spoke to you guys actively.
Yeah.
Well, I talked to Perfict last night, but
I've been trying to sort out life shit. I'm still trying to sort out trying to deal with county shit to help with basically sort out a place so that I can sort out things so I can have a place to live and have a way to eat and live easily on my own. So that's kind of put a damper in a lot of other stuff that I've wanted to do. Not to say that I've done absolutely nothing, but like it's definitely been a damper.
Yeah, especially with the whole COVID-19 things, I would imagine that the situation is probably not very easy, especially with the lack of probably resources and personnel being able to process paperwork and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, well, the thing is, the county area is no longer, you can't deal with stuff in person, so there's a whole online thing, but I don't know how to connect the online part to what's actually dealt with, because I do get food stamps, so that's dealt with. So I don't know how to access that through the online part. And the worker dealing with my financials thing hasn't gotten back to me, so I need to go and leave a million more messages on that person's phone until they get back to me and I can get some of this done.
Yeah, I was. Go ahead.
Oh, if you're asking what's... Well, my surgery date passed.
Sorry to hear that, Christy.
So, though everything... we had a good thing set up. I was going to go to... we have a music festival here, play the music festival, go down to New York City, get an innie, and stay with my mom for 6 weeks. We had tickets to My Chemical Romance in Newark, and then my friend and my kid were driving down, and then drive home. All of this has been moved exactly a year, including the concert. So I'm kind of actually fine with that. I'm like, okay, I think I was going too quickly anyway. So
Christy, does this sound evil that I'm very happy that you're postponing a year? That I'd rather see you healthy, not catch COVID-19. I think you said you caught COVID-19 already, right?
Yes, I did. I caught it.
So is it evil if I say that I'm actually content that you don't catch it again? I'd rather see you healthy and happy than anything else. Is that evil for me to say?
Not at all. And I just should say that one of the reasons why I didn't worry about it too much is Mount Sinai has a lot more going on right now than where it would be. You know, I'm not upset about it. I'm a little bummed, but not upset about it.
Well, I forgot to brag about two things. Since we want to talk about the positive elements, today is my 4-year hormone anniversary.
How would you say that? It wouldn't be happy. So
I don't know.
Happy anniversary.
Many happy returns of the day.
Yeah, exactly. And that
may your estrogen always grow.
Yeah. The other thing is, I do have a top surgery date scheduled now. So for October.
Are you getting an augmentation?
Yeah.
Alex. Okay.
Cause like I'm wearing a padded bra and they're still small, and because I can.
You don't have to see there. See, here's the most important factor when it comes to each of our experiences and every individual. It's everyone has their own in regards to dysphoria, what have you, their identities, what have you.
That's
everyone
true.
has each contingent of what we require in our own mentalities to make and rectify our discomfort. It doesn't matter what it is. So it's incredibly important. So if that's a factor that will help you alleviate a discomfort you have, Alex, I'm not going to say my blessings. It's just my thoughts are with you. You know.
Yeah.
As much as that
and so that'll be October 13th. They only schedule like 6 weeks in advance or whatever, and they had to get because Minnesota you can get surgery to deal with, you can get insurance to have to deal with transitioning, because they fight against it as a default.
I still find it amazing that including facial feminization surgery and including breast augmentation, those are included in my insurance, but electrolysis on my face is not. It does not make any sense.
Yeah, see, my situation's kind of like the reverse. Because I'm disabled, so I don't have insurance and stuff, and because of my veteran status and getting my disability and through my health care through the VA, I don't qualify for state Medicare or insurance and all that stuff. So my biggest hurdle right now, and I would even argue that a lot of other trans veterans like myself have this problem, is because that some of us don't qualify for a lot of the care or packages that could be offered at a state level until there is some type of implementation of policy and where things change and where I rely heavily on the VA for my services and my needs. They aren't offering anything. I mean, like right now, they don't do any form of hair removal. They don't do any form of bottom surgery, top surgery. They don't do anything. So I'm stuck waiting for my back pay from part of my disability being increased to, hopefully policy changes if Biden gets elected. So that's where yeah. So that's my problem. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why if I can just throw this out there, not trying to get political here. This is one
No. We will 100% dig our heels into politics. It is totally fine to get political here.
This is one of the reasons why anyone who claims to be a trans ally that states that they're doing like this never Biden type of still, I find that so belittling to the experiences of people that they aren't in regards to their shared experiences. I'm not saying that these individuals, some of them won't experience maybe individuals within their own life that are also trans, but the overwhelming consensus is the likelihood of Biden alleviating and increasing the benefits of trans veterans like me for the VA is incredibly high. And when I hear people say never Biden and never vote Biden, whatever, and they're like they want to allow Trump or just give Trump a higher chance of winning, it bugs me to death, because I know that under Trump for 4 years nothing will happen toward trans veterans at all when it comes to our care. Nothing. In the last 4 years, it's actually been reduced. But with Biden, there's at least a probability.
That's what I was going to be saying. I mean, nothing would be what you were hoping for out of Trump on that. There'd be no movement. Because, I mean...
One of the things that Biden says is the first day step where he's reversing executive orders. One of them is going to be on the transgender... is going to be on the transgender health and military ban.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me,
that's a day one priority, and good, because that's it's going to lose in votes, but ballsy to do.
Yeah, I totally agree, and this is one of the facets of why I'm such an advocate for Biden. I don't like Biden at all. He kind of goes against my own political ideology today, but at the same token, I have to look at, as a pragmatist and as a consequentialist, what is going to be the least harm reduction in regards to individuals in this community. And that's, I think, it's the most incredibly important facet, that people that espouse this never Biden mentality completely hand wave or disregard because it doesn't directly affect them. And it's astonishing to me how people still have this mindset.
Yeah,
I don't understand what the problem is. Biden has been doing a regular and magnificent job of not being Trump. In his entire political career, Biden has not been Trump every day of it.
He did get hair plugs. He did get hair plugs in 1989. So,
well, to kind of give you a gist of it, Perfict, I agree with your connotations, but the primary reason why a lot of these individuals have these facets is most of the individuals I've seen placated in this mentality are either like revolutionary types among the left, or individuals who are Maoists. Most of the people that espouse this are basically either one of two contingents: people who are revolutionary types that don't care about pragmatism or consequentialism, or people who are like this anti-establishment rift Like everything is blamed on the establishments. Like nothing is based on social or societal issues at all. And these are the two groups that typically run this gambit. And I'm not saying that they're only people that do that, but these are the primary I've noticed. So.
Well, yeah, but I mean, also, I think oftentimes they, this is something I've seen Rico Rants, our guest, bring up before about the fact that if there was a civil war, that's more than just the fighting part. That's the various tactics, the starvation tactics, like all sorts of things, like the cutoff of immediate helpfulness, just like a lot of things that's going to hurt a lot of people more than just the fighting.
Well, the acceleration is really pissed me off.
Yeah.
Look, I'm Warren. I was Warren all the way, but you know what? Warren did not win. Not enough people voted for Warren. So
well, see, but the thing I will say though, it's more likely, Christy, that Elizabeth Warren may not won the nomination, but she's more than likely going to have a cabinet position under Biden's administration, which is an incredibly positive thing. So I hope that Biden puts her on the either as Secretary of the Treasury or Secretary of the Interior, because I think that both of those positions would be pivotal to her work in regards to her, taking on big banks and stuff. So,
I would almost guarantee that she will still get a position.
I am curious. Did you guys happen to notice that I kind of disappeared about a month ago from Twitter and stuff?
Yeah, I did notice.
You said you were going to, so it was. Like,
yeah, but did you guys happen to know why I left?
I do not know.
Do you guys know who Sarah Michelle is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Sarah Michelle, about on the beginning, the end of July, stated that if I had known her in person, because I called her a dumbass and I called her an idiot, something around those lines. That because of how I've been criticizing her aggressively, she claimed that I would do violence upon her if I knew her in person.
No.
Yeah, and basically she pulled a Steve McRae has a girlfriend that did that to Nate Brody, and I find it the irony that basically she pulled the same victim card that Steve McRae's girlfriend did to Nate Brody, and yeah, I found that interesting.
I thought Sarah Michelle was kicked off of Twitter at one point.
She's not. She's back. She's still back on Twitter. She's basically using another account. She's going on her contingent of straw mans with cultural Marxism talking points and pushing the narrative about people on the left are denying biological sex. She's going on her rant about it.
He has a fucking neuroscience degree.
Say, Eliani, do you have anything you'd like to contribute on the Rowling watch?
On J.K. Rowling? J.K. Rowling's what is there to say about J.K. Rowling? J.K. Rowling, I would argue, in my opinion, based on my perceptions, is highly influenced by religious connotations. Her premise is based on concepts, and I would argue based on her religious ideology. This is, again, my opinion. I have no way to directly correlate this notion. But based on my perception.
I mean, there's a couple things that
I'm not going to say that. I agree with you on that, Alex, but I can't say that with certainty. I can only state my opinion based on what I see, because a lot of her talking points stems very identical to the 1960s about homophobia. If you look at the pamphlets that Christian fundamentalists were spreading during the 1960s, her precise talking points correlates with those talking points when people were speaking against homosexuals during that time. So yeah, this is before Stonewall.
Yeah, and I mean, also some of the people she's worked with and supported have been also supported financially by conservative Christian organizations. So there's There's several things that.
Yeah, you see, a lot of people don't understand that, currently when it comes to the online discourse that's been going on. Before, in my opinion, I think I've said this observation before, there were four contingents of individuals on social media. There were the left-wing individuals like Essence of Thought, Rhetoric and Discourse, like Christy Winters, and these people. I do have some criticism, but I generally think that they're good faith people. Then you have the dirtbag left. And then you had the libertarian right, like that one individual I once came on and spoke to, the one that's libertarian. She actually has really good social issues, but we just disagree on the mask thing. I forgot her name.
Aria.
Yeah, she's a cool person.
That individual. Yeah, but
I disagree with her a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, but then you have people like her, which are at least fair-minded on social issues, even if we disagree politically on economics. And then you have the far right, like the fundamentalists, the Nazis, so on and so forth. Now there's this new contingent, this fifth column, this fifth group that are, I would consider, the enlightened centrist takes. And of course, they've always been there, but they are doing this new motive in where, I don't know if you guys have noticed, do you guys know who the apostate prophet is?
Yep.
No, I do not, actually.
Okay, so I want to just say this very clearly. Like, I watch the Apostate Prophet's content. He does really great content speaking on the evils of Islam. I personally think Islam is evil, yet I still will defend a Muslim from bigotry continuously to this day. But right now, this guy named the Apostate Prophet is allying himself with a person named David Wood. Do you know who that is? I know Perfict does. I've talked to him about this yesterday. Do you guys know who David Wood is?
I do not.
David Wood runs a YouTube channel known as Act 17 Apologetics. He is, yeah, so I'm not going to go into connotations about his past, but suffice it to say he's a Christian apologist. He's also made notions of Christian nationalism in the past. He associates with people who also espouses Christian nationalism. But that's suffice the point. This apostate prophet individual is directly allying himself with David Wood to speak against Islam. And I recently put out a tweet to Redvon because I think he does good work against Islam. But one of the connotations you get from guys like Redvon, guys like Armin Navabi, who runs the Atheist Republic, people within this contingent of non-believers, is they're perpetuating this cultural Marxism myth, and most importantly, they are willing to ally themselves with Christian apologists to speak against Islam. And it astonishes me that these individuals don't comprehend that their work is being used by Christian apologists for proselytization of Christians or Muslims to become Christian. I don't know. I'm confident they do realize that, but I don't know why they would permit such things to happen, and it's troublesome for me.
I think it's, well, I mean, I mean, racism is a bitch. Yeah, but see, like, there's this whole big debacle right now, and where David Wood, who runs this channel, I was gonna make a video, but I'm still I have a mental block, and where I will not make content. I'm kind of stepping away from social media, except for a great couple of times, but I've been watching this whole debacle for the last month going down. So you have Apostate Prophet and David Wood basically eating a Quran or burning or destroying a Quran on a live video, and all these other Muslims. Now, a lot of them are bad faith individuals. They are as bad as any other Christian apologist. I would argue they're a little bit worse because they also proselytize a very harmful ideology. But you have go ahead. Oh, well, I mean, there's a lot of harmful stuff in Christianity as well, at the very least, the way it's taught.
Yeah, but what's going on is, so you have two individuals. One is named Muhammad Hijab, and another one is called, I forgot his name, something Salam, I forgot his name, but there's two bad faith individuals. They're Muslim apologists, basically fighting David Wood, a Christian apologist, and Ridvan, the apostate prophet. And what's kind of going on is I'm trying to side a little bit more toward Ridvan, trying to convince him to kind of like not ally with David Wood, because I don't care if they eat the Quran, burn the Quran. I don't care, because that's free speech. But their whole shtick, their whole routine is about trying to convince Muslims to leave their faith, to teach them how Islam is an evil ideology. And I'm all for that. That's what should be done. But in my opinion, can you imagine what would happen if you had a person like Matt Dillahunty going on a video in one of his YouTube videos and going out there eating pages of the Bible? Can you imagine the backlash Christians would do about Matt Dillahunty and speaking out against that action? Can you imagine what would happen?
Well, yeah. Although I don't know that. Like, if you're talking about a general cultural like, most people don't follow any faith to the letter. So, like, if you're talking about something as being evil, that's a very strong way to describe almost anything. I think there are a lot of factors that would be, in my opinion, there are factors to fight that are almost more important than religion, and through that, religion will sort of fall apart on its own.
Yeah, but the thing about it is the thing that bugs me the most, like, I will tell everyone that I'm very brash, I'm very blunt. I don't sugarcoat things. So I believe in discourse, but if someone gets offended by me stating what I know to be true by my own perceptions, then that's on them. But these individuals that I mentioned, David Wood, Ridvan, the apostate prophet, they state that they're all about positive discourse and changing hearts and minds, quote unquote.
Yeah, you don't get that from burning a religious symbol.
Well, they didn't burn it, to be factual. They destroyed it. They ripped it in half. So,
okay,
that's
fair.
free speech. That's free speech. But if that's what their actual general goal is, you're not going to garner any favors from doing such an action. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you an example. Do you guys remember what happened recently, just about 3 weeks ago, in where I guess I'm not going to say it's not true, that Antifa burned a Bible during a protest? Did you guys hear about that?
No, I didn't hear about that BS.
Wow. I guess I got my hair to the ground on social. Okay, so 3 weeks ago, around the beginning of August, there was a big uproar among the evangelical base about Antifa, or Black Lives Matter protesters. Don't remember which one specifically, burned a Bible during a protest. They burned the flag and they burned the Bible. And there were video after video from apologists and Christian fundamentalists decrying out for Antifa and Black Lives Matter burning a Bible. And the irony on this is, one of the people that David Wood allies with, but who runs a channel called What Do You Meme, made a video complaining about them burning a Bible, and he did a whataboutism. Oh, but why didn't they burn the Quran? I wonder. And this is the type of the hypocrisy on this is astounding to me. Like I said, it's such blatant hypocrisy to me. Like, if you ever see these individuals at any time see something that does something that hurts their senses regarding to their own ideology, if someone does something counter to that, they'll cry and scream foul. But then they'll do the exact same thing to people that they claim to be wanting to change minds on. I just don't understand how they can be so hypocritical. It's astonishing to me.
I have said on a number of occasions that I have burned plenty of flags because I was a Boy Scout, and that's how you destroy them.
I will say we are reaching the end. So,
okay.
You know what? Is there any place you'd like people to find you, Eliani?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm retired. I'll if I find a video if there's a topic that I find that is incredibly crucial that I need to, I've addressed the two hot button topics in regards to cancel culture and cultural Marxism, and where I've debunked both of those notions all the way through the bat. I don't have hardly any views on those videos, but I don't care. I've proven my point.
Okay.
If there's something found, she will find you.
Exactly. Perfect. Where can people find you?
The Rumpus Room and here. Those are my 2 gigs.
The Rumpus Room on Discord. You got to start.
Yeah. On Discord.
Yes. Christy, where are you up to? What have you got going on? Where can people find you?
You will be okay. You will be able to find me back on my channel, Christy Abbey, spelled just like you see it on the screen, and on Chris Abbey Music, which is without the TY, and both things are starting back up. This week I will also be on Elia Kai's channel with a multi-collab on J.K. Rowling, because we got the band back together when she did it again.
Yeah.
I'm taking the medical part, so, which is what I did more or less last time. So, yeah, the I apologize to everybody that I have been so distant, even though I've been kind of active on Twitter, but more as a gadfly than anything else.
But isn't that what Twitter's for?
Yeah, that's what Twitter's for. But I apologize to people that I have not been as active, and I will be coming back. I'm trying to get together, doing not a best of, but returning guests. I want to do a bunch of returning guests.
Can I ask something real quick, Christy?
Sure.
Since you're a musician, I know you're always looking for avenue of revenue, or ways of getting revenue. Have you tried playing your instrument or your music on Twitch?
I can't do Twitch. My computer's not strong enough.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay.
And
if I could send you my old computer, I would. But go ahead.
It's all right.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say we still haven't dealt with the intro song.
I have to get a new phone and a new tablet first. My problem is that it won't hold a charge, so I have to keep it plugged in. So I mean, I have smaller problems, obviously, but yes, I have considered it. Yes, if I can figure it, once I get a new phone, I can probably do it from my phone. So
okay,
you could always try a GoFundMe.
I could, but
But you're scared to ask for help. It's almost
scared to ask for help, and I always, I don't. I'm not good at that.
Well, you just need more encouragement.
If someone wants to throw money in my PayPal, they are certainly welcome to.
Yes.
The link is down below.
Yeah, hopefully it is. Well, no, it's not right at the moment. I need to fix that. But that was my problem, because I did a setup and I forgot to deal with connecting it to the event. So it's technical issue. It will be down there, especially if you're watching late. It will hopefully. I think. I will check, and one way or another, it should be down there.
Not to play victim. Well, not to play victim, but
not to play victim by being a victim.
Not to play the violin here, but I had to go shopping today for dinner, and I had to keep it under $13 because that's what I have. So
yeah.
I no longer have $13. I have $1.50.
Yeah, no, I know that feeling. Luckily, I am in not as bad as a situation because I have bordering on middle class friends who let me stay in their house while I figure out how to get subsidized housing.
My royalty check is going to be incredibly tiny, and it's not going to cover all it needs to this time. And it's also late. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyways, is there anywhere else?
Yeah, you can find me on my regular stuff, and I'm sorry. This is 2 weeks in a row. I'm usually the cheery one.
Yeah. So I just have to take your place as being the cheery one, as I, sap away your cheeriness through my special power to suck away your cheeriness to give myself cheeriness. It's it's a curse and a benefit. I've been doing it to my roommates as well, so
Yeah, I actually had to ask Alex to pay for the Zoom this month, so
it's fine. I have, like I said, I'm at not the greatest risk. I just don't have a consistent income, so I'm always concerned about doing any sort of regular financial
I guess
term. Yeah.
PayPal.me/RedInkling.
Yeah. And is that everything?
I think you forget yourself.
I'm on Twitter at what the fuck am I on Twitter as?
Normality, Quake.
Oh, God.
Okay. Anyways, I assume that's everything, so I'll go on to myself. I am behind on everything and trying to sort out a way to sort out housing and potentially reapplying for general assistance stuff. So I have not been producing much of anything. That being said, I should have the D&D stuff up. I switched that away from live because it just wasn't working for me. But that being said, with semi-consistent schedules and stuff, so it's just a lot easier for me to just put it all up, and we're almost done with the campaign. So I should be able to set up a point where it comes out weekly, the Into the Depths D&D stuff. So that and the fluid voice, and I need to work on dealing with fluid voice guests because I've been overwhelmed by the other stuff.
Well, I'm gonna help with that.
Oh,
I guess my guests are starting to come up.
Ozma in the Dark is where you can find me most places. Talking to Nothing on Twitter. That's Talking to Nothing minus the G. And yeah, I obviously here as well. So, with that being said, I suppose things, I guess, have to end. Sadly enough, this episode has to end. Your voice, was it Your Voice Matters, You Matter, I forgot the other one.
Your voice matters, your life matters, and you matter.
Thank you. I am slowly getting close. Oh.
I'm going to add one. Identity matters.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
That's my sign off on my channel. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And, I decided to say we should steal it. But anyways,
It's lovely. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Peace.